Speaking of requests, every day we're requested to appropriately update you on the total number of lives lost to this virus, number of hospitalization, ICU, and as well number of people that have tested positive. Let me briefly go through those. Yesterday was the deadliest day for this virus in the state. 115 human beings lost their lives, families torn apart. It was the deadliest day in the state of California. I don't say that blithely. I don't say that certainly cheerfully. I don't say that except in any way, shape, or form to do justice to those individuals. Each one of those numbers represents a family, represents a life lost, and a journey that their families will be on and their loved ones that is very different than the one that predates their passing of that loved one. But it's also a reminder we're not out of the woods yet. I know there's deep desire. People are making calls on an hourly basis saying it's time to open back up. Consider the deadliest day in the state of California in the last 24 hours, 8.5% increase in the total number of deaths. We saw 5.6% increase in the total number of people tested positive in the state of California. But there was some positive news despite those numbers. And that was for the first day we have been putting together our number of hospitalizations and number of ICU patients. We saw four things happen at the same time. I mentioned just a few days ago, we saw the first thing happen at the same time, and that was the number of hospitalizations and number of ICUs decline together. That happened again today. Hospitalizations down 0.4% and 1.2% decline in ICUs. But what happened was also significant. What was also significant is the number of what we call PUIs. These are persons under investigation. And both for hospitalizations and for our ICUs, we saw those persons under investigations drop as well. So all four of those categories dropped, only reinforcing what we advanced yesterday, some stabilization in that curve. But with deaths and still positives going up, again, I caution people that we're out of the woods, and that's why I continue to encourage all of you to do what you've done that led to that stabilization. Leads me to announce those four categories are beginning to decline, and leads me to further the call of practicing physical distancing, social distancing, and appropriately wearing face coverings when you cannot practice physical distancing at the grocery store or elsewhere. Look, we're walking into a very warm weekend, the most beautiful weekend, to the extent you love warm weather, since January, at least, or since arguably last summer in the state of California. And that means people are prone to want to go to the beaches, parks, playgrounds, and go on a hike. And I anticipate there'll be a significant increase in volume. But I also think if there is, and people aren't practicing physical distancing, I'll be announcing in a week or so these numbers going back up. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. I don't want to share that information. But that's really less up to me, it's more up to all of you. And the peer pressure, the social pressure, making a phone call in the next few days, maybe you got a teenage son or nephew, niece, and you think, well, you know what, I should check in with Bobby and just say, hey, I know you are likely to want to get to that beach, but just be careful. If you do, make sure it's open, and if it's not open, you know, abide by the rules. If it is open, just abide by social distancing, practice physical distancing. Let's not dream of regretting. And I just want to, again, encourage people to be safe, stay at home to the extent possible, and practice physical distancing. We'll continue to practice what we preach, and that is constant and never-ending updates to you on our thinking about how these 6 indicators that we highlighted yesterday, one deeply highlighted on testing, what those indicators are telling us and how they're guiding us in terms of next steps and next announcements. Yesterday, we made that first announcement, again, to begin to pull back on our stay-at-home order. That's a positive sign, but it was the indicator that gave us that green light, gave us that sign. We need to see other green lights, and those other indicators provide us similar guidance in terms of making decisions. It won't be a letter I receive, a tweet, It won't be the expression of frustration that I and all of you share in terms of the stay-at-home order. It will be those indicators that drive our decision-making, not dates. We don't debate dates. We look at the facts objectively. We're not ideologues. I'm not an ideologue. I'm open argument, interested in evidence. And I'm well aware of the arguments of regionalism in this state. I'm well aware that this state, as I often say, is many parts, not just one body. And I recognize the differentiation, not only between regions in this state, but even within cities and counties in this state. And we monitor, we mark that, and we understand that in detail, and we see that nuance. And that data is all matched up and collected, put through that lens of these 6 key indicators and that roadmap to recovery. And I can assure you, in real time, and I hope that's every few days, we're going to make announcements as we toggle. Again, move that dimmer up and down, not this light switch, because there's no such thing as reopening and back to normal. It's normal with caveats. It's reopening with conditions. This virus, we are not immune from this virus. There is no vaccine for this virus. There are no therapeutics that have yet been identified that we can distribute and manufacture at scale to mitigate the impacts of this disease. The disease killed more people in the state of California in the last 24 hours than any previous 24 hours. We still have more positives in this state every day. So this disease continues to spread, and we need to continue to spread the word of vigilance and maintain our values to one another. And the value, again, that we hold dear is this notion that we're all in this together.